Welcome back to the library. Today's topic is dinosaurs. Yup, dinosaurs. A archetype that wasn't very popular in the metagame per se, or hasn't seen much competitive play outside of some unique builds, but is a very beautifully, very well designed monster-based archetype, which we will see very soon. This right here is their signature field spell. It reads, all face-up dinosaur-type monsters gain 300 attack and defense. A very short and sweet effect that provides a buff to all of your monsters. It can also be added from the deck to your hand by discarding a Destroyer-saurus. So his effect reads, you can discard this card to the graveyard and add one Jurassic World from your deck to your hand. Destroyer-saurus has an amazing design. He looks really, really good. The background, the trees and the foliage, and the big Tyrannosaurus-like dinosaur in the front with an axe on its head for good measure and spikes on his back. It's just peak Yu-Gi-Oh! Design. How you imagine fantasy dinosaurs to look like. Released in Joy's World, he wasn't one of the first dinosaurs, but his release was very, very welcome. Now, wrapping up the field spell, let's introduce some of the basic dinosaurs from the archetype, two of them being normal monsters, Sabersaurus and Cabozols. Sabersaurus was released in Power of the Duelist and Cabozols even before that in Pharaonic Guardian. They were both reprinted in the Dinosaur's Rage structure deck. Now, these two are unique, not only because they are normal monsters and the main beaters in the deck, they also had a unique deck built around them called Dino Rabbit, with Rescue Rabbit being able to summon two of them and then overlay into a Volzar Dolka or Lagia, which were very popular negate monsters to control the board. That deck ran 3 Cabozols and 3 Sabersaurus, and they were used as beaters when they weren't used as overlay for XIZ. Now, one of the oldest dinosaurs ever printed here on this list is Gillosaurus, actually printed as a rare in Labyrinth of Nightmare, all the way back in 2003, I think. Gillosaurus is unique because he can be special summoned from your hand, but then he allows your opponent to special summon a monster from the graveyard. This is best used in the first turn when you can just special summon him to put a body to the field aside from the normal summon, or even better in this deck, to tribute summon. So there are cards that make your dinosaur monsters much more powerful, and there are monsters that are tribute summoned that have great effects in this archetype. So having fodder to tribute for them is very important. Other than this, Gillosaurus was used as a 1/2/2 copies just to be included like this. Next up we have a Hyper Hammerhead, a unique dinosaur monster with a unique effect. Now his power is not very high. I mean, 1500 attack is not very good in any sense, but his effect that when he battles a monster and the monster is not destroyed, it is returned to the hand at the end of the damage step, is very strong. He can crash into Stardust Dragon, for example, or any other powerful synchro or boss monster and just bounce it to the hand, if you don't have any other solutions to that problem. Also, he can attack into defense position monsters and constantly bounce them at the cost of some of your life points. And also, he can bounce monsters that cannot be destroyed by battle, like Spirit Reaper or Marshmallow. So Hyper Hammerhead, a very sneaky little dinosaur with a powerful effect, not to be underrated at any cost, at any rate. And then we have Black Stego, the Black Stegosaurus, is a unique monster, whereas it has an effect when it's attacked, it turns to defense. So he is very good to use for early aggression, and then when the opponent has something stronger, he just switches to defense, and now you have to beat 2000, even 2300 when Jurassic World is on the field, because it also boosts defense. The black archetype has many different monsters, like, for example, Black Veloci as well as Black Ptera, which I don't have here at the moment. But they don't do anything in particular. They're just called black dinosaurs for some reason. Konami wanted to make them into an archetype, but never did. Black Veloci is a fully on aggressive dinosaur. It gains 400 attack when attacking and loses 400 attack when being attacked. So it's just a full-on offensive type monster. Speaking of full-on offensive type monsters, we have 3 of Hydrogeddons. Hydrogeddons is the primary aggression engine in dinosaurs. His effect reads that once he destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, he can summon a copy of himself from the deck. And you can imagine this being very powerful with Jurassic World, or even better, Solidarity in play. You have these beaters that make more of themselves as they kill monsters. That is nothing to be underrated, for sure. So Hydrogeddon. Also, Hydrogeddon is used in the anime by Bastion to combine with Oxygeddon and make Water Dragon. So, a funny little piece of trivia right there. Dinosaurs in the GX anime are used by Tyranno Hasselberry, as he's called in the English version, and they've kind of become popular because of the anime, but like I said, not very competitive. One instance of dinosaurs was competitive, and that is Macro Dinosaur, playing Tyranno Infinity as the main finisher. Macrocosmos and Dimensional Fissure were used as floodgates, stopping graveyard synergies and banishing all of your opponent's monsters, as well as your own. And that just as you play the game and progress the game state, you have tons of dinosaurs in the banish zone. And then Tyranno Infinity comes in, where he gets 1000 attack for every dinosaur removed from play. On your side, of course. So he can be a level 4, 3000, 4000, 8000 attack monster, which is brutal, to say the least. And he was played as a 3-off in such a deck. Now let's move into some spell cards that dinosaurs have. Some of which include Tail Swipe and Big Evolution Pill. Tail Swipe is very situational, so if you have a level 5 or higher dinosaur, you can select them, and then that dinosaur will actually Tail Swipe the opponent's monsters. As it says, it will bounce or return to the hand 2 of your opponent's monsters that are lower level or face down. So a very situational trigger, but a very cool design, in my opinion. And Big Evolution Pill was a bit better, let's say. You tribute a dinosaur type monster in order to activate this card, so that is a cost. And then it remains face up, just like Swords of Revealing Light, for example. And it keeps the effect that you can normal summon monsters without tributing that are dinosaurs, which ties into our tribute summon monsters, first of which is Dark Triceratops, a 2400 attack beater which pierces defense. So piercing effects not very common in the olden days of Yu-Gi-Oh! And a dinosaur that is boosted by Solidarity, for example, that pierces through defense is very powerful. And imagine that you can normal summon him just because you had the Big Evolution Pill. Or, for example, if you special summoned a Gillosaurus and then tributed him for the Dark Triceratops, it wouldn't really matter what your opponent summons from the Gillosaurus effect, as long as it's not something like of a boss monster. And now we come to the big guys. Number 1 Tyranno on this list, Black Tyranno. Printed originally in Invasion of Chaos as an ultra rare, I am afraid to remove him from the sleeve, simply because this card is a full mint condition. He was pulled from the booster and placed into the protector and never used. So it's completely full mint, crisp and crystal clear. Sadly, he wasn't very much popular or used, because his effect just says if your opponent has no cards except defense position monsters, he can attack directly. This is incredibly situational. Even if they have a trap card set, you still cannot attack directly, only if they have defense position monsters, and only them. Then it can attack. So, aside from looking incredibly cool, he wasn't very much useful. But if looking cool is your job and you look like this, I think you're doing your job correctly. And our next Tyranno is Ultimate Tyranno, printed in Power of the Duelist, where actually many of the first dinosaurs from the GX era were printed. Ultimate Tyranno is a lot more powerful. He can attack all of your opponent's monsters, one at a time, and he must attack them. So he attacks first when you enter the battle phase, and he attacks all of them. So that is very, very strong, especially, once again, if he's boosted by the field spell or Solidarity. And if he can be summoned at a lower cost by the Big Evolution Pill, as we mentioned, he just finishes the game really quickly. And he looks badass while doing it. Yeah, the super rare from Power of the Duelist. And finally, our boss monster in Dinosaur's Rage structure deck is Super Conductor Tyranno, a 3,300 attack points monster, which has the effect to tribute one monster and inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. Sort of a burn type of strategy, which is just kind of off in this aggro deck, but they put it on him as a measure when you can, for example, finish the game. Then you use this. And also 3,300 attack is nothing to scoff at. Once again, if he is summoned by Big Evolution Pill or something, he can take away the game. He can run away with the game really quickly. And finally, let's mention some of the trap cards. Number 1, we have Survival Instinct, and number 2, Hunting Instinct. Survival Instinct is used in the casual deck when you don't play Macro Dinosaur, so it is a way to remove your dinosaurs from the graveyard, heal yourself up because you gain 400 life points for each dinosaur removed, and then you feed into Tyranno Infinity. So this is that part of the strategy. And Hunting Instinct is interesting. Why? Because Hunting Instinct activates when your opponent special summons a monster and allows you to special summon a monster in the middle of their turn. No matter what they were doing, you just slam down a Ultimate Tyranno, a Black Tyranno, a Dark Triceratops. It doesn't matter what you slam. You just summon instantly when they do something, and then they have to deal with it. So Instinct also a very flavorful card for dinosaurs. But that is all we have for today, our mighty dinosaurs here. And thank you for coming to this little rant about dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs, in case you haven't noticed already. So thank you for coming, and we'll see you again next time.